So right now we open the floor, inshallah, for questions. If you have any questions, whether like in terms of like religious questions, you can ask the sheikh. You can like or whatever. If you have like historical questions, you can ask me or Brother Hamza. Political questions as well. Everything is welcome. If you have any comments to say.
Inshallah, I think.
I would ask a question.
Yes,
Okay. I just want to talk in general, like we could not generalize, but like, for some reason, I don't see a lot of our like imams or Muslim leaders, like, feel freely to speak about Palestine or support the Palestinian events. I know there are like, maybe some other consequences, but at the same time, I feel our youth, they need guidance. And if we don't guide them, they will act like, in a wrong way. So what is your advice, like, for our leaders in general to support Palestinians here?
So the question is about our imams, for them to get a little bit more involved and things like that. So there's a few things. Again, I just mentioned earlier, we cannot generalize. Yes, there are some imams who are scared and they're nervous, and you understand why. But also realize there are a lot of imams who are very, very active, very active. Let me give you an example. And I'm saying this because I have received some criticism as well, because it is based on what the people see. I have my colleagues here, and when I was studying, I was very, very studious. I was always studying, so much so, I want to use this example to explain something bigger. When I was studying, some people would even tell me, you need to take a break, you need also a mental break, because you're studying even during your breaks. Then, during one of our evening breaks, what I would do is that we would have a store, and I would actually go to buy some snacks, and then just quickly there was a gym as well. I was young at that time. Just quickly go and just shoot around for 10, 15 minutes, then come back so I can study. This one person, he would actually see me only at that time, because he was not in my class. And every time you see me, he would say, it's hard. Your parents, they send you over here, they spend so much money, and all I see you doing is what? You're just playing and wasting all of this time. So he wasn't wrong, it's just that's all he was seeing. Now, let me give you a present example. There was actually some brothers in my community, and I have to explain and clarify to them this coming Jum'ah, inshallah, where I had received some complaints that they have stopped coming to our masjid because they feel that the imam is not speaking on this topic. And this is like the furthest from the truth. The most active, I believe, Allah, I'm not trying to pat myself on the back, is myself, despite all of what I went through. I actually took my daughter, I put her on my shoulders, we went to a protest. I actually took a picture of that, sent it in all of the group chats, because I know this is the complaint that as imams we will get, you guys are not speaking on this. Then I gave few Zoom sessions, 3 or 4 Zoom sessions. I sent the message to all of the group chats. I spoke about it in my masjid 2 or 3 times. Then every masjid that invited me, I spoke on that. Last month I was invited to a program in New Jersey. The topic was something else, about marriage, seminar. Last minute we canceled this, and this is not appropriate. We're talking about something else, let's talk about Palestine. The khutbah over here the other day, the imam told me, let's talk about this. This morning, I was saying, okay, now we're just repeating it too much. I hope it's not the same audience, because there's only so much you can say. Right now, mashallah, we have this organized. So there are some who are doing it. But again, those who are not doing it, I cannot speak on their behalf. Those imams, we need to let them know that they need to speak out. They are imams, they are leaders, they need to do this. But also realize that the other complaint we'll also get is people would say, and perhaps this is not the right time to say this, but oh imams, why are you only speaking on this? What about other issues as well, right? Other things as well. What about the Uyghur Muslims, the Rohingya Muslims? You guys have never given 10 khutbahs, not even 1 khutbah, right? And then when you start giving, so the thing is that we need to do our part, but I think the parents also need to do their part by bringing the youth to the masjid. The youth, they don't hear. Why? When people say, okay, well, how come you're not speaking to the youth? Bring the youth so I can speak to them. I have to go out of my way, go to the college campus, go to the high school and try to speak to them. And even then, whatever you can find there, you speak to them. The only time they get to hear the imam is maybe for Eid, and even then, you don't know if they actually heard the imam because they're just outside, or maybe for Ramadan when they come for iftar. and even then you see most of them are outside. So I see a lot of it also comes on the parents as well. They need to give them a good upbringing, they need to give them proper education, they need to inform them about this, and of course the imam definitely, they need to address this from the masjid.
Like, what's scaring me, because like the youth especially, they are like, in this age they are very emotional, and they are seeing all these scenes, like, some scenes they could not tolerate anymore, so that's let them like, react in a wrong way.
Yes, sir.
Or in an ineffective way. Like, for example, 2 days ago in the protest, the youth who burned himself, like, or yesterday, like in the protest, we have like, one of the youth, he just started running and he got arrested. I just like, feel like, we need like also to educate, like, I'm not sure if I am right or wrong, but like for us as leaders, also we have to be in the field, in the side, to support these youth to vent in an effective way, in a positive way.
No, you're 100% right. I think the imams, they need to do this. They need to, the only thing is we just need help from the parents to bring the youth out, because the only thing is for us to now go into the house and just barge in, and that's the only option that is left. Otherwise, at every level, at the masjid, in the evening, and mashallah, these type of events, I mean, there can be nothing better than this. We just need to spread the word, inform others, and this might sound very strange, but myself, I've been on so many different WhatsApp groups every week. It seems like I'm getting added to another group chat. And I kind of use that to my advantage. I try to send a message, try to tell everyone, but there's only so much we can do. It takes me about 30 minutes to 35 minutes just to send a message on WhatsApp, because I try to reach out to everyone. You can put it on Facebook and others, that's good, but when you send it on a WhatsApp group, they feel like it's more personal. It's good, it's effective, but the problem is, once they find out this is an imam on the group chat, you get bombarded with hundreds of questions. There's only 24 hours in a day, right? You can only do so much. But anytime there's a program or anything like this or something else, we try to reach out to them, we spread and convey the message, and I think if everyone does their part, then inshallah the rest we put everything in the hands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
I have something to say about this. Practically speaking, or objectively speaking, people don't speak out mainly for like 2 reasons. It's either like ideological reasons or personal traits kind of reasons. Like if there's some person who's just like a soft-spoken person, he's not really that type of like, he's not an activist. So that could be a reason why they don't like march out in protests or speak out. That could be like a personal reasons, a personal trait. Or it could be ideological reasons that they don't believe in this, and I'm just like saying this objectively speaking, why like people don't like speak out, or we want more. You're right in the observation that more needs to be happening. Like we need to do more. As the Sheikh said, some people are doing their part, some people are not. What we can do, subhanAllah, is like, as the Sheikh said, we do our part. That's like, we cannot speak for others. The only thing that we can do, like this event, for example, is a test. It's an actual excuse for us in front of Allah Azza wa Jal to say, Wallahi ya Rabb, this is what we could do. And we did it. Maybe it's not gonna like reach, or maybe it's not gonna like even like impact the lives of our Palestinian brothers and sisters as we hope. But that's what we can do. So that's what we should do. And as I said, like everybody, as the Sheikh said, everybody should do their part. Because there once a wise person told me that when there is disappointment, probably there was like an over expectation. If we expect people to go out and do this all the time, or just like come out with us, if you over expect people to do something, you will be disappointed when they don't do it. And if you under expect something from people, you'll just like also like wrong them, because you didn't expect anything from them. So what should we do? Just like focus on yourself, do whatever is in your capacity to help your brothers and sisters. Just do your part and leave the outcome for Allah Azza wa Jal. It's not yours.
I just want to add one more thing. I just wanted to add also one more reason, and this is a unique reason that might not apply to others, but I think it applies to me a little bit, in that I'm actually genuinely afraid of the crowd at the masjid, that if you speak on this, everyone's level of iman is different. that I hope it doesn't scare them away. Of course, those who are active, this is okay, we should be doing it. We understand the limit of the Constitution, we have this right. But for others, I'm actually genuinely afraid that they might actually stop coming to the masjid. Let me give you an actual example. Before my situation, before that situation that happened, it was in 2011. From 2011 to 2013, I was away. Before that, there was a brother, mashallah, very close to me in our community, and he was telling me, Imam, you need to stand firm and always speak what is right and never be afraid, and ittaqillah, fear Allah. And mashallah, always giving me these, always encouraging me, right? And I felt like, mashallah, his level of iman is very high, right? Maybe I'm a little bit too soft-spoken, and maybe that makes sense. Then when that situation happened to me, from that day until now, it's been 14 years, and he lives nearby, and I used to teach his kids. He has never showed up at the masjid. He was the one who was the most vocal of everyone, telling me, Imam, never fear anyone. There was such and such Imam, he would say and talk about every current situation, this and that. And when that situation happened to me, the others were more quiet. They would actually all come in court, they would appear, and the one who was the most vocal was the one up to this day, and I know he lives there. I used to teach his kids, and that's how scared he got. So I'm actually worried sometimes that if I say too much, I hope it's not counterintuitive that now, so everyone's situation is different. You have to look at the crowd, your masjid. Here, alhamdulillah, they allowed me. They say, yes, you can speak, and people like that, and they hear. So I'm more actually afraid and worried about the people in the crowd. I don't know how they would take it instead of others. Right now, alhamdulillah, I went through it, so I'm not so much afraid of the law enforcement because I know that I'm not doing anything wrong. This is exactly, I went through it. My situation was a one-off event. I hope that didn't scare anyone, by the way. I hope that didn't scare anyone because it was just a mistake on their part. I went through it. It was very traumatic for me and my family, but definitely they realized their mistake. But imams, we definitely go through it. We're always targets as well, and we're always trying to find that balance. Like, one is saying a lot is too much, and when should we stay quiet? So we try our best, we do our ijtihad, but definitely we need to inform everyone. And at the end, if you see someone who's a religious leader who hasn't been speaking on this topic, definitely they need to be encouraged about it.
One final thing is just it's a challenge. I don't know the exact remedy or recipe for this, but I at least know that you cannot go wrong with knowledge or raising awareness. So that is something that I know for sure, that raising awareness is a line of defense. Maybe not the best part, but I know this, and this is why we're trying to do these educational. It's not. I myself am not the although I'm very active within societal problems. I'm active, but I'm not the activist type. I do not shout. I do not I could go to protests, but I would stay silent. It's just a personal trait. It's just I'm not that person. But I'm a debater. You put me in a debate, I'll talk. So I'm just trying to use my capacity to the best that I can, and that's it.
Yeah, sure. Quick question. Sorry for that. Between the reality and the faith or the belief, for us as Muslims or believers, we believe as what happened in the story and what was mentioned in the Quran or what is mentioned in the Quran, a small group could win or gain the victory on big group. It's really hurting me a lot seeing people desperate and they don't have any hope that the Palestinian could win this war. For me, from listening to many political analysis and from seeing the achievement that every party is doing, I am seeing there is a hope. But always when I talk about that hope, the people don't feel it or believe in it. How we can implement this hope again in people and let them believe that we can win, and this has happened in the history, and there is a chance always for the sincere people to win and the people who resist.
I would just have to kind of reiterate what the brother said. The best way is to basically raise the awareness and things like that. The results are in the hands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But also what I mentioned in the beginning, that every situation is a win-win situation for the believer. Right? قُلْ لَنْ يُصِيبَنَا إِلَّا مَا كَتَبَ اللَّهُ لَنَا هُوَ مَوْلَانَا وَعَلَى اللَّهِ فَلْيَتَوَكَّلِ الْمُؤْمِنُونَ قُلْ هَلْ تَرَبَّصُونَ بِنَا إِلَّا إِحْدَى الْحُسْنَيَيْنِ. that basically both of them, it's a win-win situation. If a person, an innocent person is killed, he attains shahada. And if he is victorious, he has this worldly benefit. So it's always a win-win situation for the believer. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, إِنَّ اللَّهَ اشْتَرَى مِنَ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ أَنفُسَهُمْ بِأَنَّ لَهُمُ الْجَنَّةِ يُقَاتِلُونَ فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ فَيَقْتُلُونَ وَيُقْتَلُونَ. Okay? So again, there will be those who would die and they will get the reward with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Even in Uhud, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions what is the reasoning behind the suffering that they went through. And we spoke about this yesterday. I don't want to go over the whole thing, but the concept of theodicy, that some suffering that happens, it could be that collectively it may be a punishment for the ummah, but it is actually a blessing for certain people, like COVID, a plague. The Prophet said it was used as a punishment for the previous nations. But any believer, right, when he remains steadfast and he's patient and he does not leave that area to spread it and he dies seeking the reward from Allah, he will have the status of a shaheed. So sometimes as an ummah, right, maybe we're not doing what we're supposed to be doing, and these are reminders. So we need to rectify ourselves as well. We are basically criticizing and speaking about injustice on the other part, but at the same time we also need to fix ourselves as well. We also need to remember and remind ourselves of the other set of verses, like إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يُغَيِّرُ مَا بِقَوْمٍ حَتَّى يُغَيِّرُ مَا بِأَنفُسِهِمْ. Allah does not change the condition of a people until they change themselves. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَمَا أَصَابَكُم مُصِيبَةٌ فَبِمَا كَسَبَتْ أَيْدِيكُم. Whatever calamity that befalls you, it is because of what your own hands have earned. وَيَعْفُو عَنْ كَثِيرٍ. And because of these calamities, He forgives much. So we also need to remind ourselves. Now you might be wondering, I'm doing so much, I'm doing so. It's true, as an individual, specific people may be doing a lot, but as an ummah, we still have a lot of shortcomings, right? When it comes to the fara'id, when it comes to the rituals, when it comes to helping others, are we actually living to Islamic values and things like that? Inshallah, if we fix that, everything else will be taken care of.
If you don't mind, I have a reflection that I wanted to share about the verse that you mentioned, فَيَقْتُلُونَ وَيُقْتَلُونَ. In the other chapter in Surah Al-Nisa, Allah Azza wa Jal says, فَيُقْتَلْ أَوْ يَغْلِبْ. The first verse in Surah Al-Tawbah, it says like he kills or get killed. He kills like be victorious. In the other chapter, it uses the word victorious actually in the second part, like if he gets killed or was victorious. فَيُقْتَلْ أَوْ يَغْلِبْ. It didn't say فَيُغْلَبْ أَوْ يَغْلِبْ. The verse didn't say like he was defeated or victorious. Because even if, the point that the Sheikh was saying, even if you got killed, that's not defeat. Like this is the Islamic teaching. Islam doesn't teach us that if you kill in the way of Allah Azza wa Jal, if you get killed, you're like you didn't die. Like basically, it's not a defeat.
But we still have to believe like we will win one day. I feel like
this is a weak.
Otherwise, how we are gonna fight and strive and continue? I think like this is what we are losing now. Like the belief that they can win it or like do it.
Yeah, of course, if you believe in the promise of Allah Azza wa Jal, وَالْعَاقِبَةُ لِلْمُتَّقِينَ. Allah Azza wa Jal says, إِنَّ الْأَرْضَ لِلَّهِ يُورِثُهَا مَن يَشَاءُ مِنْ عِبَادِهِ وَالْعَاقِبَةُ لِلْمُتَّقِينَ. The land belongs to Allah Azza wa Jal. Allah Azza wa Jal gives it to whoever He wills. And the outcome in the end eventually will be for the righteous people. So we just like should concern ourselves with being righteous, because those are the people who will inherit not only this earth but inshallah the Jannah. But I was just like, I'm a very practical person. I always try to manage my expectations, because I don't want to just sell people on false hope. Like if you do this and do that, no, it's just like there are just some power dynamics that we need to be that needs to be taken into consideration. With that, you need to increase your iman. You need to be of the righteous people, but you should also be very practical. Do not just live in a fantasy world, just like if I pray my 5 prayers in the masjid, we'll win tomorrow. It might not happen, and you will be disappointed, and you will leave religion.
I am not talking about ourselves, because for ourselves we need a lot to maintain and build. Like we are still far away from that level. But I am talking about the people who are living in Palestine and especially in Gaza. I feel they did a lot and they are doing a lot. So I feel like they are at the stage very close to have something.
We
Inshallah.
hope, inshallah, of course, inshallah.
If there's another question, like the session is like officially concluded. If somebody wants to leave, you can leave. But I mean, like if you want to stay and have a talk, you can stay. I wanted to talk about the the moral quandary point, because I hear it a lot about the situation that's going on in Gaza right now. And people say that, like Piers Morgan, for example, it's a very famous argument. We feel a moral quandary about what's going on in Palestine. I could understand that if we're still like at day 6 of this war. If it's a moral quandary for you, if we were still at day 6. But when we talk about like 2 months, like almost like 2 months inside this war, and you have almost more than 20,000 people dying, with more than 10,000 of them being children. If it's still a moral quandary for you, then you need to check your humanity. If it's still a moral quandary for you, because with any war, you should have like measurable standards that you should like held both parties accountable to. So if we talk from like a practical point of view, what are the standards or the objectives that the Israeli military has for this war? First of all, just like annihilate Hamas. Did you do that? No. Almost 60 days have passed and you didn't do that. Okay. Weaken their capabilities. They still fire the same amount of rockets that they used to fire. So you didn't do that. You're not effective. And yet you're killing 20,000 people. This is not a moral quandary anymore. Like you are incompetent and you are ineffective and you still like go on with this just like full-on attacks on people, and you're not even weakening the capabilities, the operational capabilities of your enemies, then it just doesn't challenge your ineffectiveness. It challenges your humanity as well. And we'll talk about this inshallah in the next time, the combatant and non-combatant death ratio inshallah. If you don't have any other questions, we could conclude here inshallah. And I would like to thank you very much for coming and keep on coming inshallah. It helps us and it helps our brothers and sisters inshallah. Next session inshallah will be the leftover of the historical part, and then it will be an Islamic perspective inshallah, to talk about the conflict from an Islamic perspective and how Muslims should deal with non-Muslims through conflicts. With that I conclude. Jazakumullah khairan.